Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Hi. How are you guys? How are you doing this evening? I am so happy to see you. Well, I don't really see you, I guess. You guys see me mostly. But I am happy to be here. I'm happy to, present this show. Have fun. Talk about stuff and people with problems, hopefully bigger than our own, for just a little bit. And maybe learn something along the way. No, I did not get a haircut. I need one. I just shaved. I guess I technically went to the barber and turned my face upside down and told them I wanted a haircut, but that's what happened. But welcome to it. Happy you are joining me this evening. Tonight we're going to talk about some criminal law, right? Enough of this silly drama on the internet only relating to boring civil law with its pleadings and its motion practice and its hand jobbery or whatever, going back and forth with negotiations and no updates for years sometimes on end. No one likes that. That's no fun. You know what is fun? Prison. Prison is fun, or the prospect of it. It raises the stakes a little bit, right? We don't just have some random internet personality or celebrity or whoever facing the sad prospect of a bunch of people making fun of them and them having to admit that they don't actually have any money to pay the people that they've screwed over, and everybody goes home sad. Like, that's real life court. That's civil court for you. Like, yeah, you won. Oh, wait a minute. The dummy that you sued, they were irresponsible with their money their whole life, and they don't have anything. They don't actually own anything. They're just a fat pustule who writes comic books and lives in a rented apartment in California, probably with like 8 other men, and can't actually pay you, even though he cost you a whole bunch of money, and he pretends to be an important person. He doesn't have anything to pay you. Sorry. Not that that's happened. Not that that's actually happened. That's, of course, a hypothetical based on purely fictional characters, and any resemblance to actual fat people who are lazy, horrific, nasty, disgusting people is purely coincidental. So don't take that to mean anything. None of that has actually happened yet. That's just a minor unofficial prediction, if you will, brought to you live here at Rekieta Law. There are 2 people I could be talking about. One of them is fat and pasty, and one of them is just fat and sad. And you can pick which one. Okay, guys. So tonight we're going to start off. We've got, both of these are sad to me. They're both sad. They're both very important cases for people who either I have watched and enjoyed content from, or people I'm tangentially associated with and just hate to see put in a bad spot. So the first case we're going to go through is a guy named FPS Russia. Hopefully you heard of FPS Russia. He does gun reviews sometimes. They okay. He likes to shoot things, likes to make them blow up, right? His name actually Kyle Myers. He's not really Russian. Hope you don't think so. Does good impression. Likes to make boom with all kinds of big guns. Although, from what I understand, he has not gone by FPS Russia for a while. He is now Painkillers Oh, what's the PKA? Painkillers. What's the... I never remember the last word. I always want to say anonymous. Right? Painkillers. Good Lord. I'll think of it. Or you could just make fun of me in the chat and tell me what it is, because I never remember. Anywhere, right? Painkillers anywhere. Is that it? Anyway, already. Already. Terrible. I should know this. I've been corrected on that podcast name like 10 times, specifically in different instances, and I still can't remember it because my brain immediately goes to anonymous. Immediately. All right. So that's the first person. The second person is someone I don't know and am not familiar with, by the name of... Can I even say it on this stream? I don't think so. We'll call him ABR, or Buttburger. He is an associate, though, of Mumkey Jones. Mumkey Jones, of course, is a friend of the Dick Show in many ways. Not that Mumkey Jones came from the Dick Show. Don't mistake me in that way. But that's how I came to learn about Mumkey Jones. And he's a funny guy. Produces some very funny content. And AB, Burger, Buttburger, what do we call him? Brandon? We'll call him Brandon. Brandon is a guy who is, a friend and does some videos with him. And they're involved, well, Brandon is involved in a very, very bad situation that is, of course, spilled over into affecting Mumkey Jones, not just from the criminal aspect, but from other aspects. If you haven't watched Mumkey's video about it, I would highly recommend you do that at some point if you care at all, or you don't have to. Oh, wait. No, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to cover some of the points from the video in this video. All right, so we're going to actually, we're going to go through, we're not going to watch the whole thing. I don't want Mumkey to copy strike me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he would. We are going to watch segments of it, however, and talk about the crimes involved a little bit. But if we watch the whole thing, it gets into a lot of personal drama for Mumkey, and that's not the point of this. It's not the point of this. But we're going to talk about the criminal charges and what that looks like. Excuse me. I'm in terrible form tonight, guys. I have to do something. I have to do the one thing that I hate doing, and I have to walk away from the stream for just a second because a very nice person sent me a very nice bottle of whiskey, and I want to taste test it live. And we'll do the first opening and the sniff. I'm not going to mention his name on stream because he is a professional person, and I don't want to do that without his permission. And I haven't talked to him since I got it. So I'll say very much thank you. Let me go get it. I'll be right back, like super fast. Okay, thank you so much. I hate walking away from the stream. I try to never do it, but Lady Rackets is busy, and here I was without the whiskey of the day. So real quick, there's a super chat from Guns Beer Freedom. He says, a guns and alcohol stream? Well, that's the only two things I'm an expert in. Shame it's not so lighthearted. Yeah, the guns and alcohol are both tangentially related and purely in a criminal sense to the stream. So there we go. Oh, Tillip says Legal Eagle would never leave a stream. Yeah, sure. No, he wouldn't, would he? But Legal Eagle. Do you guys know of this guy, Legal Eagle? He does really exciting reviews of law television, right? Where he reacts to like how to get away with murder. Let me tell you all the wrong things with how to get away with murder. Well, let me help you start. All of it. All of it. How about Law and Order? Yep. All of it. Pick one. All of it. Because lawyering is actually quite boring, and it doesn't fit into a TV drama very well because everybody who watched it would want to hang themselves. So anyway, I don't know if you know this, but that whole channel is just an ad because the guy sells like a how to get good grades in law school course, like a law school course for going to law school. And that's that whole channel. So there you go. Let me ruin that for you. If you ever wonder why it's like really overproduced and looks exactly like the boring legal show where you would expect the hot takes like this. Let me do the hot take from this one. He talked about the Discord mandatory arbitration clause. Let me give you the hot take from Legal Eagle. Yeah, it's probably okay. I mean, arbitration's really fine. Woo! Smoking. Sizzling hot take. You want to know his hot take on BetterHelp? Here, let me help you. You want to guess? You want to guess the hot take on BetterHelp? The one that's fleecing people out of a whole bunch of money and providing them with potentially unverified therapists to maybe help them with problems and like having weird terms that force them to prepay for a bunch of services in advance and like maxing out credit cards. That BetterHelp? You know, this is a hot take on BetterHelp, right? That one was no, BetterHelp's probably fine. Probably good. You know, they're okay. They're not providing the therapy, so it's probably okay. Like, whoa, thanks. Oh, thanks for the risky one there, buddy. Anyway, the guy is an actual practicing attorney, has been for some time, a little older than he looks. Good job. But yeah, it's an ad for his law school thing. And props to him for doing that. Props to him. But I don't know if he actually is being completely forthright in the fact that it's an ad. Oh, yeah. So what I was saying is if it looks like an overproduced show of exactly what you'd expect from the lawyer, like I have whiskey and 40K in the background, right? But what would you expect from a boring law show, right? It'd be a bunch of law books that no one actually reads because you just go into Westlaw and the law books behind the person were probably like a multi-$1,000 used book purchase purely for the aesthetic. Because if you think like a lawyer's going in to the legal register and flipping through and not using their like $500 a month Westlaw subscription to find it 1,000 times faster, you're insane. So anyway, that's why it looks like that, because it's made to look like that, because it's made to make you buy the Legal Eagle program for succeeding in law school. So, invite him onto your stream. Sure. I don't know if he'd want to come on if he ever watched any of what I just said. That said, in fairness, the show does look very nice. Show does look very nice. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. I got to get back into this. I'm back at home. I don't even know what to do anymore with my life. All right. So, couple points of order. You can, of course, participate by Super Chat. I encourage you to do that. Of course, it makes me money, right? Like, so obviously I encourage it, but it's a good way to make sure you get my attention. If you send me a Super Chat, I'm going to read it. Or my favorite thing to do is to click on the Justice Chat link in the description of the video. And that is a way to send a Super Chat through PayPal using Streamlabs. And that will pop up over my face in written animated text. and I will read them and address them just the same. And you also get a little higher character limit over there than you do on Super Chats. So either way, of course, I appreciate all of it, all of that so much. You guys make the show possible, and you make it a little more fun. It's already fun, but it makes it a little more fun to have the interactivity and the support. So please go ahead and do that if you like. Ask me all kinds of questions about Mumkey, or not Mumkey, but his associate, about Kyle, aka FPS Russia, as we get into it. I'm going to be talking about this. I've done not federal, but Minnesota case that's similar to what Kyle's facing. And I've done domestic assault cases that are similar to what what's his face, Brandon is facing. So I'm going to talk about it with a little bit of personal experience involved with that, and hopefully we'll have a good show. We can all learn something and have fun. And again, be glad that we're not in either of these situations, because they're both very bad for these guys. So this is Rabbit Hole Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. Very important. Kentucky does not allow gay rye whiskey yet. That has to be upheld by the Supreme Court through the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. I'm guessing the citation will include Obergefell, which is the gay marriage. That I'm guessing that's coming. Eventually Kentucky will cease its bigotry and have gay rye whiskey, but this is straight rye whiskey. It is a 95 proof whiskey, and let me add it to the shelf over here. I just got it today. I picked it up. Eric Blum, is this an ad? It's kind of an ad. It's kind of an ad, but mainly because like Rekieta Law is the name of my law firm, but most of you can't hire me. So it's not really an ad. Most people, and I do get lots of requests for various legal advice and help, and I try very hard to refer those people to competent lawyers who I have some knowledge of and would trust them with to handle it. And, if you want to contact me, you're welcome to. I suppose this is an ad in that sense, but in the direct sense, no. This is an ad for the show itself, and that is my primary goal. Okay. The danger of having a nose like this is when you try to nose your whiskey, sometimes you dip the tip in. That's what she said. Good stuff. It's smooth. Held it in my mouth a long time. Very little burn. It's not smoky. Ryes aren't smoky. I think of a rye whiskey like a dry wine. It's not dry like a dry wine, but there's not a lot of sweetness, right? Like wheat whiskeys and bourbons have that sweet. Bourbons have the caramel. Wheat have the sugar. Rye whiskey's like a plain oatmeal. It's really rye, but it's really good. This one is very smooth. Ooh, I am getting a little bit of like a vanilla aftertaste. That's good. Kind of sneaks back up in there as I'm talking. Good stuff. Again, I'm not gonna dox the guy who sent this to me. I'm just gonna read real quickly this letter because I appreciate this stuff. And someone who sent me a letter, I want to go ahead and read it. It's from an appreciative fan. It says, "Please find the enclosed bottle of rye. I was in the liquor store the other day after listening to one of your rye whiskey episodes, so I thought it would help add to your ever-expanding liquor shelf. Drinking along to your videos over the last year has been a weekly staple. I love your content, man. The lawsuit stuff was great, and listening to other internet drama has been quite amusing. In particular, I appreciate listening to your outlook on the state of the law and members of our profession, other members of our profession. I also have the privilege of being a small-town, small-practice lawyer. I mostly do family law and other bread and butter law. Peace be upon you, good sir. Thank you for your service. Family law makes me want to cry. So it has been fun listening to you thoroughly cover topics I haven't thought much about much since law school. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great. It's fantastic comment, and I hope you keep doing it as long as it is lucrative and fun. Thank you so much, buddy. And if you want me to thank you by name, I'll happily do so, but I will only do so with permission. The reason I wanted to read that is because if you follow me on Twitter, you realize that sometimes people don't like your opinion. Like, so if you got a lawyer and two people in a room, like half the people in the room hate you, right? That's how it goes. Because you've got an opinion that favors one person over another. So lately, I've been getting a little bit of heat on Twitter, and I know all these people are largely barely functioning human beings and non-functioning in the field of legal knowledge. But it does get tiring having people challenge your opinions, stuff that you worked really hard on to learn, that you work really hard on to research and try and convey accurate information about, and then you have some dummy on the internet who's sitting there playing with himself all day, or cosplaying for the world or whatever, or trying to avoid the fact that some baseless thought sending hot snaps to a bunch of mindless people who never mind. I'm not going to keep describing these people. You know who I'm talking about. Because they're all the same. It doesn't matter who it is. But so when this mindless drones like rag on you, it gets frustrating and difficult because you can say over and over, like, no, I'm just trying to tell you that you're stupid and you have no idea what you're talking about. And that's okay because you didn't spend $150,000 to go to law school. Like, good. Be something else. That's good. But it's always nice to get some positive reinforcement from members of my profession. And thanks. Here's to you, buddy. Great whiskey. I very much appreciate it. All right. That said, that's all the drama that we're going to get to about me. Let's get into the drama about these other guys. So I have pulled up here the document for Kyle Myers, otherwise known, not what we want, otherwise known as FPS Russia. Okay. I'm not going to do it in the Russia voice. I'm just kidding. I just like doing the Russian voice. Let me get the chat. Oh, there's a bunch of super chats too. Let me catch those up real quick and then we'll go into it. Let's see. Yeah, Tillip said Legal Eagle would never leave a stream. Well, he'd never treat you nice either. Sketch Therapy says alcohol, tobacco, and firearm possession equal victimless crime. I agree. Possession of any of those things is a victimless crime. Mithrin Emrys says lies. You know that figuring out estates, the rule of perpetuities, and the division of marital assets would be 5-star drama. Yeah. Well, saying the rule of perpetuities, like just that phrase, is almost a full 20-minute show with ads involved. Brad Burns says, at least you have Scalia behind you, so you look somewhat lawyerish. Yeah, we might have to remedy that. Actually, I can't wait for my new setup in my new house. Very soon it's coming, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be tailor-made for this show in some ways. Many ways. Kevin Soak says, Rusk F. Kyle. Mithrin Emmer says, oh my god, triggered. You didn't mention lesbian, trans, or asexual whiskey. I did not. Or bi or pansexual whiskey. All of those being banned in Kentucky. Very regressive state. They need to get with the program. I'm literally shaking. Alex Neves says, renounce Korn and embrace benevolent Father Nurgle. You've cost me a lot of money on Warhammer books through your recommendations. I have a problem now. Is that actionable? No. No. Don't talk to any other lawyers about it, but no. Elmo voice. No. We'll have to do a stream me stream of like some horrific rape case, and we'll do it all in the Elmo voice. That'll just go ahead and guarantee a seat in hell for us all. All right. Okay. Put a Pepe face on Scalia. That's a good one. Should maybe do that. All right. So this is United States of America versus Kyle Myers. There's several violations. This is 5 pages long. This is the indictment for him. These are the charges currently, and I'll tell you about the case as we when we get finished where the case stands, because there's actually some stuff coming up pretty soon. Count 1. Possession of firearm by a drug user. This is one of my favorite crimes. My favorite ones. I mean that entirely facetiously. This is insane because having a gun and being a drug user shouldn't be illegal. Using drugs is illegal, right? Like, that's a thing. Having a gun, and being a drug user, those two things are not related, should not be related, and should not be a crime. Maybe firing a gun while under the influence of drugs, okay. I'm open to it. It's illegal to fire, typically illegal to fire a gun under the influence of alcohol. Makes sense if we're going to regulate that. We should regulate it with regards to drugs. But merely having guns and having drugs should not, or being a user of, which again does not mean under the influence of. And this is one of the problems with it. Well, let's kick this in and we'll talk about it more. Yeah, Andrew, it was distilled by Kim Davis. Kyle Myers, defendant herein. Okay, so that on or about August 7th, 2017. Now, this stuff happened back in 2017. FPS Russia was raided back in 2017. The grand jury indictment is actually from September 11th of 2018. The case is progressing pretty quickly. So this is current, even though the events that led to all this were back last year. So, there we go. On or about August 7th, 2017, in the Athens Division of the Middle District of Georgia, Kyle Myers, defendant herein, aided and abetted by others, both known and unknown to the grand jury, and then being an unlawful user of a controlled substance as defined in 21 U.S.C. Section 802. That's a definition of the controlled substance, not what being an unlawful user is. Okay. Did knowingly and intentionally possess a firearm which had previously been shipped and transported in interstate commerce, to wit, 1. Kahar Arms Model PM40 40 caliber pistol, serial number. 1 Chris Model Vector 45 ACP caliber rifle, serial number. And 1 Magnum Research Inc. Modern Desert Eagle 44 caliber pistol, serial number, in violation of Title 18 U.S.C. Sections 9G3 and 922G3 and 924A2. Count 2. Possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. This is not a good one. Not a good one. On or about August 7th, blah, blah, blah. Defendant herein, aided and abetted by others both known and unknown to the grand jury, did knowingly possess a firearm, to wit, 1 FN rifle model FS 2000 223 caliber with an obliterated, removed, and altered serial number, which had previously been shipped and transported in interstate and foreign commerce in violation of Title 18 U.S.C. Sections 922K, 924A2, and Title 18 U.S.C. Section 2. Now, I don't know anything about this rifle. FN FS 2000. Let's see if we can find this out. It's a 223, so I doubt it's old enough. I'm just curious what... Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is March 2001. Pretty cool rifle, man. Let's Here, I'll snip it out. 1 second. Let's get a picture of this guy up on stream. Okay. Do we have it? Oh, yeah. Here. Boom! Look at that thing! Whoa! That's the rifle that FPS Russia has with an obliterated serial number. That thing is cool out of its mind. But, yeah. Okay. We'll pull that down. So there's a thing with serial numbers. If your rifle was manufactured before a certain time, I think it's 1964, before the act was passed. No, it might be earlier than that. It might be 46. I might be dyslexic. But anyway, so like a lot of World War I rifles, they don't have serial numbers. People don't realize like serializing and tracking guns is new. This is new. This is all new. Shockingly, we used to have the ability to buy fully automatic guns and guns that were untraceable ghost guns with no serial numbers, and the murder rate wasn't higher than it is now. Yeah. It was like, it might have been a little higher. I don't know, but it wasn't like, we're not talking appreciably higher. The really high murder rate, like peak murder rates, are late 90s to early 2000s. And then we saw a decline from there. I think 2006 might have been the highest point. But we've seen a decline year over year from that, and we saw a rise year over year to that. So the increase in murder rate correlates with an increase in serialized guns and a decrease in unserialized guns. That's a weird, backwards sort of thing, but the serial tracking of guns is relatively new. We're talking within 70 years, and prior to that, it didn't even exist, much less the mandate for it. I want to say it's 46 or the early 50s maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head. I apologize for my unprofessional lack of knowledge of everything, but that's yeah, this is new stuff. So anyway, the point of that is if you get a gun from before serial numbers were required and it's never had a serial number on it, that's okay. Doesn't have to have a serial number. Don't have to put one on there. Now, if someone put a serial number on there, because you can get a serial number stamped onto a gun, even one that's old, if you get one stamped on, you can't then remove it. All right? But if you happen to like, you know, or you're going through like some estate sale and you find some World War I rifles that the guy collected that don't have serial numbers, those aren't illegal. Those aren't illegal, and they're not illegal to buy. Typically. Check with your state attorney, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Okay. Looking all this stuff up here. Yes, open it. Oh, it's a PDF. Okay. So, homicide rate. Yeah. Peak. Well, that goes to 2000. So the 20s, I guess you've got 20s and 30s. The homicide rate, I'm not going to analyze this graph. What am I doing? I'm not going to talk about this without researching it more. I would imagine it has something to do with wartime and decreased population and all that. And I don't know what those stats are actually for. Thank you. But I don't have time for that. What are we doing here? Get me off track. Okay. Back to the hard job. I'll send you all premium snaps. That's tough. Okay, so we had the Model FS200, the obliterated serial number. That's a very bad thing if true. You don't want to have an obliterated serial number on a gun. Looks very shady. Courts don't like it. And that is how you go to prison. Count 3. But we're gonna talk about all of this because once we get to the state of the case, you know, it'll give us some indications. Count 3. From July 1st, 2017 to on or about August 7th, 2017, the Athens Division, defendant herein did unlawfully and knowingly use and maintain a place located at 3643 Royston Road, Carnesville, Georgia, for the purpose of using and distributing a controlled substance, all in violation of Title 21 USC Section 856A1. They don't say what controlled substance. I'm going to guess weed. Count 4, on or about August 7th, defendant herein aided and abetted by others known and unknown to the grand jury, knowingly and intentionally possessed with intent to distribute a Schedule 1 controlled substance, to wit, marijuana and butane honey oil. So making marijuana wax in violation of Title 21 USC. Marijuana wax is a honey-like resin or a wax-like resin that is you get from a controlled burn of marijuana that's kind of soaked in butane. It produces a resin that is a concentrated THC. It leaves a lot of the green plant behind, but it sucks the THC out into this waxy stuff that you can then use in various ways to get THC to you a little quicker than rolling it up into a joint and smoking it. So there you go. That's his fourth charge. Forfeiture notice. Forfeiture notice. The allegations containing counts 1 through 4 of this indictment are hereby realleged and incorporated by reference, blah, blah, blah. Upon conviction of the offenses in violation of Title 18, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States of America, pursuant to Title 21 U.S.C. 853, any property constituting or derived from any proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of such offenses, and any property, real or personal, used and intended to be used in any manner or part to commit or to facilitate the commission of the offenses, and or any firearms and ammunition involved in the commission of the offenses, including but not limited to the following: 1, AAC of Georgia TI Rant 45 caliber silencer. So he had a suppressor. 1 Chris USA Vector SBR 45 caliber rifle. 1 Advanced Armament Corp Model Cyclone 7.62 caliber silencer. 1 Silencer Company Model Salvo 12 silencer. 1 Silencer Company Model Spec War 762 silencer. So a lot of silencers. He likes suppressors. Apparently he cares very much about his hearing. SRM Inc. 12 gauge shotgun. SRM Inc. 12 gauge shotgun. So a bunch of guns, bunch of silencers, and maybe others. Certainly the ones listed above would be included in that. The ones he received charges with. Any other guns that they may find on the property would be forfeit. But here's the real kicker. So this is any property constituting or derived from any proceeds obtained directly or indirectly, and any property, real or personal, used. Real property means property, land, houses, structures, buildings, those things. Land. That's real property. Land and the stuff on it. So any property that he used or indirectly gained from this is subject to forfeiture. That means his house, personal property as well, which means any cars or vehicles, any guns, any ammo, anything. Anything is subject to forfeiture when you're facing these kind of charges. If any of the property subject to forfeiture as a result of any act or omission of the defendants cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred, sold, or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty, USA shall be entitled to forfeiture of substitute property pursuant to Title 21 USC 853P. So there you go. If they can't get the stuff that they think that you got, they'll get other stuff that they think is worth the same thing. Not good. You don't want to be in that situation at all. You really don't. Kyle's in a rough spot. He's in a rough spot. But Kyle, here's the The drama alert, right? Get your tension up. Whatever the music you need in the background. Kyle has pled not guilty to all charges. He has a pre-trial conference in 3 days. That would be on the 30th of November. He will have a pre-trial conference. Once there is a pre-trial conference, that is either where you plead guilty, like that's one of your last chances to plead guilty, or you go to trial. We'll see. I would assume he's talking about going to trial because of the forfeiture. I don't know anything about his situation, but the forfeiture of like everything you own to the state, that doesn't seem like a good thing. Plus, if he gets convicted of this, he would lose any ability to own a firearm ever again. He would also face significant prison time. I don't know how much it is. The sentencing guidelines, they vary based on past criminal history, current stuff, any aggravating factors. That'll all be laid out. If he is indeed found guilty or pleads guilty, I'll cover that gladly. But I want to see what the government has on him. I don't have enough information to tell you what the sentence could be. But we're talking likely several years in prison, even on a first offense for this stuff. Not good. Not good to be in his shoes currently. However, like I said, he has pled not guilty. He has not currently done a plea agreement. They have been talking about this for 2 months, a little over 2.5 months. So that means that there's some confidence there, or some indication that they're willing to go to trial, whether they're confident or not. And that's interesting with charges of possession charges are typically hard to fight unless they believe they obtained the evidence unlawfully, which that will be a big question. Was the evidence lawfully obtained? There is a discovery request that is out there. It's pretty general. I read it. It's like 13 pages, and discovery requests are pretty boring and written broadly, especially from a defendant's point of view. So there's not a lot to talk about in that discovery request. So I'm not going to bring it up on stream and talk about it, but they have requested more information. They're waiting to get that back from the feds. The pretrial conference will have probably the results of that discovery will either be discussed or they will be asking for continuance until that discovery takes place. But yeah, forfeiture of the guns, forfeiture of a lot of assets, those are very real possibilities. And I don't think anybody wants that. Murderer? Why are we talking about murders? I realize this is FPS Russia. Yes, I hope everybody else does. I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, if not, we're talking about FPS Russia. And maybe the murder comment is in reference to like his producer back in 2013 was murdered in his home. And Kyle's house was actually raided back then as well. However, at that time, they did not find any evidence to link him to any particular crime. But 40 federal agents did raid his house back in 2013 and did a full search. So he was not charged in any way back then. He's only recently been charged after a subsequent raid based on probable cause. I heard or read, more appropriately, I read that he attempted to buy or did buy marijuana through a website, and maybe that's how they got him. But I don't know that. In the indictment, they don't lay out any of the facts about the case, and the factual allegations are not laid out in any documents that I've seen so far. There are documents missing from Pacer, which I assume to be suppressed. So, without those being released, I can't tell you specifically what's been going on. But again, scheduling or pretrial conference in 3 days. Kyle will know a little bit more. He has so far pled not guilty from his first appearance back on September 11th. He is out on bail Obviously, he is still doing Painkiller Anywhere, I believe, but he is out on bail. His bail was only 20 grand, which is shocking to me because I've had people charged with way less serious stuff get $20,000 bail as well. But it's always weird what that is. And he may not be out on bail specifically. He might be out on a conditional release. I don't know. I don't have that document either. It's not publicly available. Painkiller already. It's please kill me already because I can never get it right. Okay, a couple chats here. If you have any questions, like there's not much else to say on Kyle's situation. He faces, like I said, he faces several years in prison. However, at the current time, he has pled not guilty. That means we're scheduled for trial. The trial has been delayed twice in the interest of justice, which means, they're waiting on the state to produce something, probably. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. He has not pled guilty at this point, and I will be watching, of course, to see what's going on with this. But so if you have any questions, please throw them into a chat now. Other than that, we're going to move on to Mr. Brandon Ocampo, otherwise known as Buttburger. So weird. ABR. We'll call him Mr. Burger. It's not Mr. Burgers, though. That's a different guy. Mithrin Emrys says, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the common defense, the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Why do people not get that the second clause is the operative clause? I don't know. I can't take it. If you want the full English breakdown, you can read DC versus Heller. Scalia's opinion breaks down the how the clauses are written in the Second Amendment, and that goes ahead and lays out an individual right. Although I actually disagree with a lot of DC versus Heller because I don't think it goes far enough. He talks about like only common weapons in common use and blah blah blah. No, I'm sorry, no. Warships were privately owned. Cannons were privately owned when the Second Amendment was passed. And none of that, like this strange and dangerous weapons or automatic weapons, all of that came much later. And it came from U.S. v. Miller. And I will never cover U.S. v. Miller because Guns, Beer, Freedom really wants me to. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just kidding. We'll cover it at some point. Next, we've got Cypher's Cinema. It sucks seeing Kyle in this position. I've been following his work before FPS Russia was even a thing. Guns are his passion, and now he can't own them. Well, if he's found not guilty, he'll be able to own them again. So hopefully he'll be found not guilty on all accounts. On all counts, not accounts. But yeah, it does suck. Really sucks when a gun lover, where guns are your hobby, a fundamental right, by the way, is charged with a felony because you get charged with a felony, they suddenly can take away a fundamental right, an enumerated right in the Constitution. Imagine the lunacy of saying, you know what? You were convicted of a felony in the past. Now you can't speak. Ever again. You can't say anything. Ever. Now you can't practice your religion. Ever again. Like, I know you're Catholic. Devoutly Catholic. But you beat your girlfriend because you're Michael Avenatti. And you hit your girlfriend. Or your side piece or whatever. And you swole her up. You can never be a Catholic again. I don't know if he's a Catholic. Maybe that's a bad example. You know what? I know you got that felony drunk driving thing because not only were you drunk driving, you were twice the legal limit, and you ran into, or you blew through a school zone. So it's a felony drunk driving. You got that. Sorry. Now the government can put a soldier in your house. Like, it's lunacy to think that you would lose any other constitutional protection. But gun rights, right out the window. Right out the window. Truly, Clarence Thomas said it. The Second Amendment is now a second-class amendment under the Supreme Court. And it is. Absolutely is. It's not protected in the way any other amendment are. Fake made-up rights are protected at a higher rate than enumerated rights, and that is nonsense. Nonsense. Okay. Beige Devil says, my opinion, F civil forfeiture, what's yours? About the same, buddy. About the same. Civil asset forfeiture is nonsense. You know. Let's imagine they opened his gun safe and there was like 10 grand in it. Gone. Period. Gone. Won't even be listed half the time. Just take it. Goes right to the department. This is probably drug money. But it wasn't drug money. That was my personal savings or my lottery winnings or whatever. Nope. Probably drug money. All right. Next. What do you mean specifically by fake made-up rights? Well, I don't mean they're fake made-up rights. But for example, if we want to get into it, what was that case? There's a Roe versus Wade. Have you guys ever heard of Roe versus Wade? They created a fictional, and I like this right. I really do. A fictional right to privacy in one's health decisions. They created that under the Ninth Amendment, which basically says all rights not here enlisted are reserved to the people. But that's vague, and so then they created this. But that right has become a fundamental right on par with speech, which to me is insane. I like that right. I like having a privacy right in my healthcare decisions that the state has nothing to do with. Now, I'm not a woman growing a baby, so my privacy right to healthcare decisions doesn't ever outweigh the state's, right, to regulate it. I don't know. Only women growing babies get it. So I guess in theory I like that right, even though it's disproportionately applied. But that's an example of a made-up right, right? Like there's no right to privacy in a woman's health sovereignty that supersedes the state's right to protect a potential life. Those don't exist. And by the way, a child in the womb being recognized as a living being goes back to like 1500s England property law. So we're talking, that's the idea that a baby in the womb is a life for the purpose of passing down property. That's something that is 16th century. And the idea of a woman's right to privacy in her healthcare decisions is from 1973. But we act like this privacy right in healthcare decisions, which only applies to women and only applies to women who have babies in them and want to kill the baby. Again, like the limit of this particularized right that was created under the Ninth Amendment is shocking. Fine that he created it. The Ninth Amendment allows that. Shocking that it is on par with speech and it is above your possession of firearms. Because if you're a woman, you never lose the right to choose. The government can't take that away from you because you're a felon, for example. They can't do that. So there you go. But that's one thing I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about with fake made-up rights. They're actually not fake rights, but they are invented at the convenience of the court to fulfill the court's goal when there is no authority for the court to point to. Roe versus Wade is entirely a fictitious ruling. The authority behind it is zero. And that's fine for the court to do. But for them to pretend that there's a Ninth Amendment right in there, but that they created it entirely out of whole cloth is weird. But okay, that's what we got. Guns Beer Freedom says, I am so mad right now. Sorry, buddy. I know. Mithrin Emrys says, Merchant of Venice, Shylock had to cease being Jewish. Punishments from the 1500s is great form. There you go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Norma, Roe versus Wade is a woman who regretted the decision, became ardently pro-life, and a huge pro-life advocate. We don't talk about her, though. We don't want to talk about her. All right. Yeah, exactly. Unless you take legally prescribed opioids, FDA, CDC, and DEA are all up in you and your doctor's decisions. Yes, it's like a right to privacy and healthcare decisions. You only get it if you're a woman who is pregnant, under 28 weeks, right? And you want to kill your baby. Those three things together all have to happen. All of those have to happen. But, that's just the same as free speech and free religion, right? The inconsistency, but that's okay. All right, that's Kyle's situation. It's Kyle's situation. Let me see what we can get pulled up here. All right, I'm pulling up something here. Just a moment. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, boomer level happenings going on here. Whoa, we're gonna shrink that down a little bit. We have moved on to that works. Good. We've moved on to Assburger. This is Mumkey Jones's associate, and I'm going to stop trying to censor that because that's his name, and it's just getting frustrating, like trying to figure out how to censor that in any reasonable way. Let's get on to Assburger. Oh wait, Darking D says hot take: Roe versus Wade was a bad argument and bad decision. It's a weak precedent and should be overturned so we can have actual legislation. Yeah, or the court needs to get on the ball with the ensuing decision of Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which allows for fetal viability as the standard, and the court needs to start lowering fetal viability. Like, that needs to happen. What? Oh, here we go. Whoa. Something going on here. There we go. All right. Let's move on to this. All right. So if you don't know, there's this guy named Assburger. He's an associate of Mumkey Jones, a relatively popular YouTuber. I think he's got 250,000 subscribers. Does very funny videos. Tried to publish a book where he wrote the memoir of Elliot Rodger and added some illustrations to it. I believe he got a copyright claim on that and was not able to publish the book, or after publishing had to take it down. But a very funny guy. And he is friends with this guy named Brandon and Brandon's girlfriend, Jackie. And I'll probably pull up his video in a little bit and we'll talk about it, because it's important to kind of see what this kind of stuff does. But apparently Brandon is an alcoholic. Sucks to have that problem. And guys, I mean this with all sincerity. if you're not in control of this, get out of it. Get out of it. If at any time you're not in control of it, if at any time you need this, you need to be asking questions. Okay? I'm not saying that you're going to be you're an addict if you feel like you need it from time to time. If you need it every day, get out of it. Get some help, get out of it. But if you always be on guard for these sorts of things, because this stuff destroys lives, and there are people with different predispositions to it. So be very careful. Be very careful. I will never tell anyone not to drink, but I will say, don't, always be aware of what you're doing, and be aware of what you're weak to. So, anyway, this guy was a alcoholic, apparently had alcohol problems, and during what is called a relapse, he viciously, allegedly, I don't think there's much alleged about it, attacked his girlfriend, who goes by the name of Jackie. I know nothing about him or Jackie, but he attacked her. He allegedly strangled her. He allegedly bit her very hard on her leg. Not sure how that would have happened. Like, I'm always trying to picture out like the scene of events where a man beating on a woman has time to like bite on her leg, like how that came to be is strange to me. But that's what allegedly happened, and probably left a mark, maybe some bleeding. I don't know, but very serious attacks. Bites are very serious attacks. But so what he is charged with, aggravated assault by strangulation, that's a felony. Because when you strangle someone, you're typically, like the associations, that you're attempting to kill them. And it puts them in fear of their life. They fear that they will be killed in that moment if they cannot get away. So that's, don't want that. That's a felony charge in Georgia. Battery, misdemeanor battery. That is probably related to just the overall hitting and the bite and stuff like that. Any misdemeanor battery is probably stuff that leaves marks and is a risk of bodily injury or causes bodily injury, but not serious or severe bodily injury. So that would be like a bite, right? That breaks the skin will be bodily injury because you're bleeding. A bruise is bodily injury. A head wound, like a concussion, that is serious to potentially severe bodily injury because depending on the level of concussion and how it came about, that could be, an attempted, or that could be a death risk type thing. A broken bone, be serious bodily injury. You've got where you've permanent disfigurement of some sort, like losing something, like a finger. That's serious bodily injury. An earlobe. You get Mike Tyson, those sorts of things. Misdemeanor battery is probably just surface level bruises, cuts and scrapes, or minor bleeding, but no permanent damage being done. Sexual battery, I think we can assume what that has to do with some sort of sexual assault maybe occurring. And then finally, obstructing or hindering persons making an emergency telephone call. So if you are in the process of beating someone and they attempt to call 911, you cannot stop them from calling 911 or you get another crime. So if you're in the process of beating someone, I want to stress this out, and the person picks up the phone, it's very important that you stop beating on them and let them make that phone call. And then apparently, I guess you would resume the beating after the phone call takes place to get back to the battery you were already committing. I hope you guys are okay with me making a little bit of light of some of this stuff. Like some of these laws, they make sense, right? Like you don't obstruct or hinder a person calling 911 who needs it. But in the middle of an assault, like of course the person is going to like reach for the phone. The other person's going to try and stop them. It's the nature of things, right? Like, yeah, go ahead and make that call. I'll wait. I'm going to get some water. You done? Wham! Terrible. Sexual battery is maybe from the bite to the thigh. Possibly. That is a possibility. I don't know. And here's the problem. I did all kinds of internet sleuthing. I actually did find Brandon's first and last name, the county he was arrested in, and by me, like, I didn't find it. I went to a website where someone else had found it and posted it, and then I used that to attempt to get to the court documents. Now, the court documents are not available yet. In some states, court documents are not available until after a conviction occurs. In some instances, when you've got a domestic assault victim, they have a level of privacy that makes the documents unavailable. I will continue looking for these documents, but they're not currently available in the county under the case number that exists. It could just be that they've arrested him in the immediate situation, have not filed the formal charges yet. I don't know. But that's the charges he faces. All right. So a couple things to kind of clear the air. Do we want to go through Mumkey's video? I mean, I feel like that would get kind of long. Let me see if it's on the... Mumkey called the police. Mumkey and his girlfriend apparently called the police. And that's the right thing to do, honestly. I want to talk about this. While this is happening, Jackie is afraid for her life, apparently, or very afraid. Very afraid. The guy's drunk and beating on her, putting her in all kinds of harm and at risk. And then, that's a good question, Darking D. I'll get to that in a second. So there's all kinds of risk that she's undergoing, and then after the danger, I guess, is passed, someone who hears about it calls 911. And my understanding is that Jackie no longer wants the charges pressed against the guy, against Brandon. Okay. One, the state doesn't need your permission to press charges, especially felony charges, felony assault. They don't need the permission of the victim. What they may need, depending on the circumstances, is they may need statements from the victim that the victim is unwilling to provide at a later date. That's a thing. I have done cases that involve this. I have had a couple cases. One, for example, I had a case where a guy and his wife got in a fight. She threw something at him. He struck her back, actually caused a broken bone because he's a man and she's a woman, and that's misogynist, but that's fine. He, struck her back in sort of reaction or retaliation. He was charged with a crime. She didn't, she called the cops on him after talking to a counselor, like the next day, called the cops to report what happened. Cops charge him with a crime, and then she doesn't want that crime later. State says, too bad. Not your thing anymore. So then the state has to run their case, though, on the testimony or any sworn statements that she's made or statements that they've recorded that she's made to the police, and any statements that he makes to the police. That's where they're, and any other witnesses that may be involved. If she doesn't want to cooperate further, like she doesn't want to provide her medical records, like they could try and go after him, they can threaten her, but she's not a party to the suit. So the state will have trouble getting those without her consent. And if she doesn't want to testify, even if they do get them, like, oh, we got your medical records. Well, introducing them as evidence is going to be tough because you get a document, you can't just introduce it as evidence. You have to lay foundation for the document. Do you recognize this document? Yes. Well, what is it? Well, it's my medical records. Well, what's it say? Oh, it says I got a broken arm or whatever on this date. Okay, we'd like to enter that, into evidence. You got to lay foundation. You can't just say, here's some medical records for this person. The other attorney would object, right? Like you got to lay that out. If you have an uncooperative victim and that's the only witness, that can be real tough for a prosecutor. Well, too bad. Too bad for prosecutors. No one's crying for you. You're all at some level terrible people. Even the ones I like. I'm sorry. But no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But that's part of the gig, right? Like the state has the hard job in criminal cases. Is supposed to. They actually don't, but they're supposed to. So if the victim refuses to cooperate, you've just got the initial statements from the victim and that's it. So if the victim didn't tell you anything other than like, he hit me, well, that doesn't really help you create a battery case unless you've got some other supporting evidence. So if Jackie says, I don't want to cooperate, well, a whole lot of that's going to depend on what Jackie's already told the police, what anyone else who has talked to them has already told the police, what statements they think they can include and not include will really depend. And of course, what Brandon has said to the police is going to really matter too. So who knows what's out there, but if you don't want them to charge someone, you can't even call them. And that's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. And here's the thing. And then I had another instance where, sorry to backtrack, I forgot I wanted to give the other side of the story. I had another instance where a guy was charged with hitting his long-term girlfriend. And from day one, she swore that he didn't ever hit her at all. And then, she wrote letters and stuff. And the state still wanted to press charges because they thought that maybe they could force her into giving a statement. So it kind of goes both ways, but you may not want charges pressed, but if they have probable cause, and that's kind of a low bar, they'll go after it. The state can go after it. And if you're a man who's accused of hitting a woman, like I hate to put it that way, but if you're a dude and you punched, you allegedly punched or kicked or bit or scratched or threw or took the hairdryer from and burned or whatever, a woman, you're much more likely to be charged than if you're a woman who hit a man. That's the way it goes. Shut up, Ivanka Trump. Women get a lot of privilege in the criminal system. A lot of it, especially in domestic assault. Especially in domestic assault. But that being said, it's up to the state. Not Jackie. Okay. Now, let me be frank with you. If a guy is hitting you, he's going to hit you again. I hate to say it, and I know there's exceptions. But if a guy is hitting you in this way, with this level of violence, he's strangling you, he's biting you viciously, breaking skin, leaving bruises. If guys are doing that, there's something underlying that they need help with. And I can understand your desire to stay with them. And maybe that's something I can't make you do anything. But there is a point where the cops getting involved is better for them, for the guy. And I know that sounds weird. And I think I don't know where that line is. It's very far down the road. All right? It's very, very far down the road that the cops being involved makes anything better. But if nothing else is working, sometimes people need to be punished for their actions before they'll see that their actions need fixing or adjusting, or before they're able to, even before they're given a break. Like in some ways, you sometimes have to think about incarceration or probation as a break from some of the other pressures in your life to focus on clearing things up. If people take that as an opportunity, they can sometimes make a positive change. It's rare that is positive, but when nothing else has worked, sometimes it happens. So did Mumkey do the wrong thing, Mumkey and his girlfriend, by calling the cops? No, especially not if he's done this before. If this is a known behavior, like sometimes someone's gotta You got to get the state involved because eventually someone dies. And that's the one thing you got to remember. Eventually, if this behavior goes on and Jackie goes like, well, I really want him back or whatever. Eventually, Jackie ends up in a body bag or Brandon ends up in a body bag. One of the two ends up dead in the situation. That's how these things turn out. And if you want to know why prosecutors prosecute these things relentlessly, talk to one of them. And you might find out that they chose not to prosecute someone earlier in their career, and the spouse of that person ended up in a body bag 2 years later. And that's the reality of domestic violence. It's something that isn't, it's not the same as a bar fight, right? A bar fight is with someone you don't know, you may never see again. A lot of times it's something like that. Now buddies fight or whatever, but random assaults connection with robbery or some other crime. That's not someone you see every day. You see someone every day and you're beating on them, you're probably going to beat them again. Don't beat people. Don't do that. I'm going to switch to a little gin, if you give me a second. All right. That is the end of this bottle of OMF gin. Thank you, Keck. It has been a wonderful companion through many shows. I'll add it to the collection. And we'll move on. Okay. So here's how these cases go. The next steps will be how much Jackie wants to cooperate with police. It'll heavily involve statements made by Jackie and Brandon to the police. Those will be the most impactful statements. They're the people who were there. Next will probably be any statements that Mumkey and Sheepover made to the police, if they were questioned at all. I have no idea. Those will be less impactful, probably used to verify statements made by Jackie. This is a tough situation. If they can back any of this up, even if Jackie doesn't want to testify in court, if they've got recorded statements from her, and a lot of times a cop will interview someone with a body cam on, they'll wear a body cam while they do the interview with a victim to make sure that they've got those recorded statements that they can accurately write down and not play the recording of, but they can write down and read later in court. They'll do that. If they've got any recorded statements from her, they'll be stockpiling those in the case that she wants to say no to helping out with the prosecution. We're not going to get into that. So let's see. So this is a felony charge. I don't know what the actual, let's look up the statute, right? Let's just go ahead and, what do we got? OCGA 16.521B. Aggravated assault, Georgia codes. Oh, here we go. A person convicted of the offense of aggravated assault shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 year, nor more than 20 years. So up to 20 years. The specific citation, a person commits the offense of aggravated assault when he or she assaults, and this is subsection A3, with any object, device, or instrument which, when used offensively against a person, is likely or actually does result in strangulation. So there you go. Strangulation. So When they say strangulation, they mean with any object, device, or instrument. So there is probably like a cord of some sort used to aid in the strangulation, or maybe like a bar, something that they could push against the neck. It doesn't necessarily mean hands were used to aid in the strangulation. But that's the allegation on the strangulation. It's 1 to 20 years in prison on that count. What I would think is a potential outcome. I don't know Brandon's criminal history. I don't know his criminal history, so I can't tell you. But if I'm representing Brandon, I'm looking at plea deals. Wait. Yes, you are. Yes, you are what? Huh? I don't know what happened. Anyway, I don't know what yes you are is. Sorry if I missed that. Not following along in the chat as well as I could be. Okay. So if I'm representing a guy like Brandon and we're looking at a plea deal, this is completely different. This is speculative. Let's take the assumption that what is stated as true, that he was hitting her, he was strangling her with some sort of object, sexual battery. Oh, let's look at that one. 16.6.22.1. Okay, sexual battery. Okay. So sexual battery in the Georgia code is this. For the purposes of this code, the term intimate parts means the primary genital area, anus, groin, inner thighs, or buttocks of a male or female, and the breasts of a female. A person commits the offense of sexual battery when he or she intentionally makes physical contact with the intimate parts of the body of another person without the consent of that person. Except as otherwise provided in this code section, a person convicted of the offense of sexual battery shall be punished as for a misdemeanor of a high and aggravated nature. Person convicted of the offense of sexual battery against any child under the age of 16 shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 or not more than 5 years. That one doesn't count. And the second or subsequent conviction, it's aggravated up to a felony. So, okay, so yeah, it looks like the bite on her leg, if that took place on her inner thigh, then or groin area in any way, that would constitute the sexual battery. Or even if he just grabbed her inner thigh, like if he, in the course of the fight, grabbed or like struck or pinched or something, her inner thigh while struggling with her, or if he was grabbing at her genitalia or breasts or something like that, which of course would also be possible if they were tangled up in fighting, that would be a sexual battery. It's an aggravated misdemeanor, which means less than a year in prison, but up to a year, or in county jail, up to a year would be the convictable offense. Probably a fine of up to $1,000. I'm not familiar with Georgia's code, but that's what I'm guessing. So anyway, sorry about that. All of that considered. So let's say, yeah, he's hitting her. He's attempts to strangle her with some sort of object. He bites or grabs her inner thigh, causing bruising that they can prove. So that's a sexual battery. And then he prevents the phone call. My guess is he pleads guilty to either a felony battery of some sort, felony domestic assault. Maybe they drop the sexual battery. They probably drop the misdemeanors. They have him plead guilty to the felony, and they have him serve like a minimum sentence with part of it stayed on the condition, since alcohol is involved, I'm guessing the condition of counseling, a condition of probation, significant probation, 3 to 5 years, probably. Again, just guessing, not knowing that Georgia's guidelines, but this is the type of stuff you'd look for on this. Now, what you'd really want them to do, even though it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, is to drop that felony to a gross misdemeanor or a misdemeanor assault. And that would be on the cooperation of Jackie, right? Like if Jackie doesn't want him to go to prison, what she could do is say that she won't, she's not going to testify. And then they might not have as strong of a case to lay all these charges on the table. They may be willing to negotiate or bargain. If you can get that felony charge down to a misdemeanor charge, plead guilty to the misdemeanor charge, you can probably get a very limited amount of jail time, maybe a couple weeks, maybe less, honestly. If it was a woman, you'd get her out of jail real easy. I'm not even joking. But if it's a guy, you get him down to a minimal amount of jail time, a long probation term, 2 to 3 years for a misdemeanor would be a long probation term, and a lot of counseling. You got counseling. You've got Alcoholics Anonymous or some other treatment program for their alcoholism, and they would have to, as part of their probation, complete the treatment program, have regular updates with their probation officer from their sponsor and treatment program person to provide their progress on treatment. These things are things that you could realistically expect on a first offense. I don't know if this is his first offense, but if it is, you could honestly expect a plea deal that has a couple weeks in jail, and that would be, I mean, a month in jail would be a long time if it's a first offense, and they don't have a cooperative witness. Now, if Jackie wants to go for it, if Jackie wants the state to push into it, she makes a really harsh victim impact statement, and is willing to testify, they won't drop that to a misdemeanor. But if she's not cooperative, they might be willing to drop it to a misdemeanor. He'd serve a couple weeks in jail. I don't know how Georgia does it. In Minnesota, you could actually stagger it out. So let's say you get sentenced to 14 days in jail. Well, that's like 7 weekends over a 60-day period, or even a 120-day period, depending on the judge. So you go in for 7 weekends, so you can still keep your job and stuff like that. That might be a possibility, in all honesty. And if that's the case, plus a fine, right? And I'm guessing the fine, if they got it down to a misdemeanor, a fine of $750 to $1,000. But they're going to drop all the other charges. The 911 obstruction charge, if he's doing a plea deal, that thing's gone immediately. I think they would get the battery charges. They'd just pick the felony one and have him plead to that. If Jackie's kind of maybe going to testify but not giving them good answers, or if they have some problem with their case, I don't think they're going to have a problem with the case, but they could get him to plead to the felony. If I was representing him, I would look for, if he's pleading to the felony, the sentencing guideline is 1 to 20 years in jail or in prison. So I would request the 1, and we'd ask for like a stay of adjudication. I don't know if Georgia does that in the same way that Minnesota does, but in Minnesota, you could get a 1-year sentence and you could get the majority of it stayed. So assuming they don't reoffend during their probation, the charges actually fall off and they don't have to serve the whole thing. So that's the type of stuff you'd be looking for on a plea deal. That's assuming everything is relayed accurately to what happened. Watched Mumkey's video. Kind of sounds like that's what happened. And Mumkey had the opportunity to put Jackie in a trash can and say that she was lying or whatever. He could do that if he was mad at her for how he perceives he was being treated by her, which if I take him at face value, what she did to him was also wrong. Very, very wrong. But, if he had decided to take that out on her and say that she lied, that would complicate things. But it doesn't seem like he's doing that. So I'm going to take it at face value that that's probably what's gone on. If it's Brandon's second offense, if he has another domestic charge, he better come up with some strategy, because this will not go well for him. If this is a second or third offense, I would not want to be in that situation. I wouldn't want to be in the situation anyway, of course, but that's kind of an idea of what you'd be looking at on plea agreements on this stuff. So don't be too surprised if they do resolve this by plea, if he's actually out, if he's out of jail, maybe doesn't even have to go at a specific time, might have just a window of time to complete some days, and you may never even know it. of course, other than being able to watch the documents, or if anybody leaks the information, of course, then we'd know it. But until that happens, we won't know. But that's the criminal news of the day. We've got FPS Russia. We've got Brandon. Do you guys have any questions about that? Oh yeah, Darking D. Thank you for bearing with me. He says, does the resumed battery count as a second count? That was me saying that they took a break while the phone call was made, and the battery commences back. And the answer to that is, honestly, it depends. It depends if they would find a different sort of battery. Depends on how long the phone call is. It depends if they literally like took a break and stopped. They may have to like leave the immediate vicinity or something. It's kind of weird to figure out how that would work, but it would probably be the same battery charge, is my guess. So, yeah. So as for Jackie, one thing to remember in this is Jackie is a victim. She's a victim of a horrible crime, apparently, allegedly, but assuming the truth has been relayed, Jackie is a victim of a horrible crime, and from someone she loves and trusts, purportedly. That's a difficult thing. Rashizzle is saying that she's in a, or no, Whimsy said she's in a, the situation is very complicated, and that she's been through a lot. I will agree with that. However, I will say it with this caveat. While she has been through a lot, and she has been allegedly victimized, and that is important to remember, being a victim and being in a tough spot is an explanation for some actions. Why someone does something that would otherwise be questionable or even reprehensible. It is not justification for that action. It's not. And the reason it's not justification is because if everything Mumkey has said is true, then Mumkey is also the victim from Jackie, and the root cause of that is Brandon. And Brandon is where the anger should be focused if this situation is true, right? The guy who causes the damage is where it should be focused. However, to simply say, well, you know, Jackie's a victim, and so whatever she does to ruin someone else she's just a victim and it's complicated. That can be a little dismissive of the real damage that's happening to someone else too, and you don't want to take away their victimhood. And we're very, very tempted to do this, especially with women who are victims, because no matter how hard we may try, at some level, the patriarchy, or, you know, what we would just call the kind of the evolutionary reality that we're in, is that for all of the years, we've protected the asset that is required to produce children. Like, women produce children, and they need to be protected in some sort of way. That's the tribal mentality, right? You protect the asset that is, one, most vulnerable, and two, most valuable for the ongoing tribe. So we've evolved to take on this idea that we do have to protect the woman in a situation like this. But if you can peel that back for a minute and remember that if Jackie, in our quest to protect her, if we say that what she did to someone else, which made them a victim, is legitimate because she was hurt, then we delegitimize the victimhood of that person. Now, I'm not saying we should be angry with her. Just don't delegitimize what has happened to someone else. Focus the anger where it belongs, though, and that's at the top of the mountain, throwing the turd down the side and letting it spiral and get bigger, right? Like, that's where it goes. But don't be too dismissive. We can explain things by people being in pain. We shouldn't excuse it, though, because to excuse pain, or to excuse because of pain something that victimizes someone else, it delegitimizes them. We don't want to do that. Like, because Mumkey can seriously be a victim in this. Mumkey's girlfriend, I haven't heard anything from her and I know nothing about her, but they can be victimized by this too if someone has gone vindictive and done things to them. And of course, yes, I know there's back and forth and retaliation. I'm not really involved in the drama. I'm just saying, be careful in your rush to excuse someone that you don't delegitimize another victim, because that happens in domestic violence all the time. It really does. Like if a husband is beating a wife, or a wife is beating a husband, and then they in turn cause damage to the children, we can't excuse what happens to the children just because the other person is being abused. Now, we may not lay the blame at their feet. We may not be as mad at them, but don't delegitimize the next victim. All right? So that's all I'm going to say on that. I don't like to get too preachy, but the way, like, this is why I don't do family law in general, is because the nature of how these critical relationships, from family even to pre-family, you know, like domestic relationships, and why they're treated differently under law, is because there's so many dynamics, and the ability to cause harm spirals out of control very quickly, and it all happens outside of public view for the most part. It happens quietly, and so when it's caught, the assumption is always that there's more going on than we've immediately seen. So there's that. That's my little soapbox. If you guys have any questions. Coach Red Pill, hey buddy. Are you going to Knoxville in January for the fight? That's Warski versus Tonka. I don't know. I got to talk to the Lady Rackets about that and see if that could happen. Do you have some travel vouchers that I might be able to use, because we had a long flight delay coming back from my recent vacation. So there may be a possibility. And there's a person out in Tennessee I'd love to visit as well. So I don't know. I would love to go, and I would love to do some streams covering the fight. I've always loved MMA, and I have a feeling that if this fight happens, there'll be some just garbage tier MMA happening, comedy tier MMA happening, or maybe we'll get some actual like skills from one or two of the parties, and it could be a real good show. And I would love to be a part of it. Are you going? Are you going to that? If you're still in the chat, I assume you are. You're going for sure. You'll be staying with Ralph and Andy at Warpath headquarters. Oh man, it just got so much juicier. I'll see. I'll talk to Lady Rackets. I'll talk to Ralph. Maybe I can get myself a little press pass and go to the show, and we'll do some reporting on some good old fighting. That would be great. Zephael, probably not. My understanding is that this is taking place at a venue under rules and probably regulations from the state of Tennessee and their sports commission. Like, I think I haven't looked into it, but I think they're they're actually doing this in an official way. So no, it would be consent. Informed consent with rules and expectations. There should not be a possibility of claiming battery unless something happened significantly outside of the rules, right? Like if an MMA fighter in another fight with someone rips their testicles off with his bare hands, that would be battery. That would be outside of the scope of the content. Hopefully see you there, Coach. That'd be great. It'd be great to meet you in person, buddy. You've talked me into looking to it a whole lot further. So I think it'd be good fun. I love a good fight. I really do. Would you guys like that? Would you guys like some law MMA splaining? It's peak internet drama, right? It's peak internet drama to have actual internet people actually follow through with the fist fight. Like, that's great. And I hope they're good at it. Or I hope that one person so roundly pounds the other one that it's funny. But yeah. Okay. All right. So Well, guys, I mean, that's what I've got. That's what I've got tonight. The streams are a little truncated lately as far as time because I'm getting ready to move. Like I said, Friday, I move into a new house. I hope that the stream on Friday... Oh, and I guess I can tease this. It looks like we will have a Chad Dad stream on Friday with Larry Blydner again, with Doug TeNapel again, and a potential fourth guest. I've got some feelers out for a fourth guest. I'm trying to confirm. I think any of the people that I'm able to confirm will be great, but a Chad Dad chat looks like the Friday stream. It will maybe be an hour earlier at 10 p.m. Central as opposed to 11, but follow on Twitter or watch the channel for updates. Those things will be, I'll announce it certainly on Friday, you'll know. And hopefully they will be taking place, or that will be taking place within my new bunker office, and that'll be great. When's Cecil coming on? Very soon, I hope. I need to just talk to him and lay out a date. But Cecil and I have talked about doing a whiskey stream for a long time. So we just got to get a date hammered out, and we'll do that. I very much want to do that. I've also talked to Yellow Flash about potentially hanging out with us and drinking whiskey and having a good time. If we do that stream, it's going to be just good, fun conversation. There will not be offhand a legal topic that I have in mind. So we'll be talking about probably general stuff, censorship, comic books, business building, creation, that aspect of the legal world that I'm in, which is, like making things, helping people get to a place where they make things and then protect the things that they make. So we'll be talking about that. Tomorrow is Russell Greer, the end of Chapter 5 and part or all of Chapter 6 with Sriracha. I don't know if we'll get through all of Chapter 6 or not, but we do have several, like 8 or 10 pages of Chapter 5 left. So definitely join. If you guys have not caught a Greer stream, you've got to try it. Like, you've got to come. Let me be your gateway drug. If you are not familiar with Russell Greer, ooh, man, he's gold. He's a beautiful human being. He's absolutely horrifying. And if you have not caught a Russell Greer stream, please come tomorrow night. They will be on, or will be on, and you'll love it. I'll put it out there. You'll love it. Get those baby bird lips ready. They're ready. They're ready. Landon Mack and James says, stop shaving, Nick Daddy, grow it all out. I can't, man. I can't do the crazy beard. It gets too itchy. It gets too much food in it. I trim it down. I don't tend to shave bare unless I go in for a nice straight razor shave for my dude Adrian. Does a good razor shave, and sometimes I'll do that because it's relaxing and nice. But no, I don't like to all the way go bare, but having it too long, it gets too hot, man. It gets too hot and too weird. But maybe if I go to Knoxville, maybe I'll grow out like the giant porn stash, because I like doing that from time to time. That's fun. Beige Devil, how do I copyright my porn? You own a copyright in it already. Registering the copyright is a matter of registering it with the Copyright Office. If you're looking for registration on any creative work, including your pornography, I do know a guy who does IP stuff, and I'd be happy to put you in contact, and he would be more than happy to help you register anything with Copyright or Trademark Office, or I don't know if I assume he can do patent stuff as well. But yeah, if you need that stuff, hit me up personally. I know it's probably a joke, but if it's not a joke, and you want to protect some property, send me a DM. I'll get you in contact with the right guy. I will. All right. Brian Seams says he doesn't go bare. He says also has children. Liar confirmed. Actually, if you go ahead and listen to some of my fun detractors on Twitter, you'll find out that I'm a virgin, a single virgin approaching 40. Apparently, the only thing they got right was my age. But I'm married almost 15 years, but 5 children, I guess. It was all done from a distance. It was a very complicated game of basketball. I'll let you figure that out. All right. Trying to think what else there is. I don't know what Thursday's show will be yet. Maybe that'd be a good time to have Cecil or Yellow Flash on. I really do. I like talking to comics guys. We're gonna do another Weeb stream at sometime. I had Anime Outsiders, and then we were later joined by my personal anime recommender, Landon Mackinjames, and Land Anime or whatever. And we had a great Weeb stream. We'll probably do a Weeb stream in the future. Again, people seem to like that. And I'm happy to do that. I love talking to interesting people. I'm reaching out to Razorfist as well. We're going to try and set that up. He suggested that he would be interested in coming on the show, and I will keep everyone posted on the possibility and time of Razorfist coming on the show as well. I think that'll be fun. I've been watching him for a long time. So we'll see. Oh, there he is. Land Anime says, my beard is full 2 years, but do Weeb stream. I miss you, Nick. Dick has to eat beehole. Yeah. Can people live stream the fight? That's going to be up to the venue. It'll be up to the venue and up to the rules of the fight promoting company. It'll be up to what they say. I don't know. It's possible if the kill stream is involved that the kill stream will be purchasing or arranging for rights to stream it. I'm guessing that will be happening. And if they have those rights, they'll probably be exclusive. But I don't know. I'll talk to Ralph and figure out what's going on with that. If I can't stream the fight, I'll certainly stream from Knoxville, and I will attempt to weasel my way onto any kill stream, live stream of it, or whatever they're doing. But if I can go, it's very hard for me to go on a vacation by myself because I'm leaving Lady Rackets with 5 children. It's sometimes easier for Lady Rackets and I to go and have the 5 children stay with, a relative. But that's tough because it's leaving a relative with 5 children that they don't normally have to deal with. So there's lots of things to work out, but I will see. I'd love to go. I'd love to pay a visit to my man, Doug Tenaple in person and hang out with him, drag him to the fight. That'd be fun. But I don't know. Yeah, do a Weeb plus 40K mashup. Man, I want to get Arch Warhammer on the show. I think he'd be great. I would love to talk to him. I love his lore videos, and I think politically he would probably fit in around here relatively well. I think he and I follow each other on Twitter, but I sent him a message a long time ago, and we haven't interacted too much. I would love to have Arch on and do a 40K stream as well. So we'll see. We'll see. If any of you guys have a line to any of these people, if you ever want to slide me a good word, that'd be great. That'd be great. But just know that I'm constantly working on bringing fun guests, entertaining guests, and always law-themed guests if possible to bring on the show and covering any of the law stuff. people send me suggestions for content all the time. I take all of the suggestions and I look at them, and some of them immediately catch my interest, and I go. If they don't immediately catch my interest, I can't always fit them in. I can't always find enough documents, and some of the stuff might be way out of my expertise. And if I can't bring on an expert, I don't want to talk about a legal thing that's way out of there. Like if you brought me like a deep cut uniform commercial code case, someone was actually asking me about that in my Discord today. And it's like it involved commercial contracts and for purchase orders and stuff. And guys, I'm going to be real. If I had to go through the UCC for a YouTube video, I'd be on Amazon shopping for rope, because I hate the UCC. It's awful to go through, and I don't practice in that area at all. So it'd be really a stretch for me to bone up on the stuff enough. If I have an expert on it, different story. But so some of the stuff, but always send me, I welcome suggestions for content if there's a case. Tardigrades is on my radar. Absolutely. There's another thing on my radar. I can't remember what it is, or short list. Maybe I think I was talking about the tardigrades. That's on my short list of topics that I really want to cover. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I also want to do a creator clinic for IP stuff, because a lot of the comics community is overlapping in here, and we've got this new like independent creator culture is coming out. So I do want to do a very serious stream with my IP attorney friend Stephen Birch, where we field a lot of, where we generate a curriculum for creators and also field questions in a little less inebriated and a little more sober fashion, at least at the beginning, right? And then we'll run through the content, put on a creator clinic to allow people some tools on what they need to know about how they can protect their content, what those protections cost, like the ideas on that type of stuff. Because that's been one of my frustrations with the law practice, is it's so hard to figure out what any of this stuff should cost. And that's because lawyers want to charge you as much as they can. So they don't like to put their costs out there so much, because they might be able to charge some people more than others. I wouldn't suggest that lawyers do that, but they do. So I want to put together a little intellectual property clinic for creators, because there's some stuff to know, and it's YouTubers, it's people who are creating anime, people who are creating video games, people who are creating comic books. Stuff that used to take entire companies now can take 1 to 3 people, and protecting and figuring out how to organize those things is very important. So that'll be coming soon. A singing stream with Lady Rackets, I would love to do that at some point, but it's hard to convince her to do it. And yes, a circumcision stream, a heated circumcision debate is forthcoming. I'm working on guests, so that will be there. That will be there. And then I did finally, and I know I'm just like rattling through a bunch of stuff right now, and it's because I've got you guys here, and the stream was short, so I want to do this while I've got energy and while there's not other content going on. Short for one of my streams. Landon Mack and James says, take my money. Can't wait for Weeb stream. Love you back, buddy. And I'll gladly take your money. Oh yes, I did my first Stream Me stream yesterday night. It was great. It was lit. It was exciting. It was crazy. Here's the archive is not currently available. Here's why. Okay. I read through a document from the Supreme Court from 1969 about the KKK and the KKK giving a speech. Now, the Supreme Court reads from the speech in that document. So, part of reading that document involved reading a word that is no longer allowed to be said in any context. In any context by a white person, you cannot say this word, even if it's a quote, even if it's anything. If you do, people will take it out of that context and try and use it against you, which is a shame because I think the stream was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. It was uncensored. It was raw. It was very different from some of this content. Not everybody liked it. I will say there were people who were like, well, I didn't like that. And that's okay. That's fine. But so that one is down. I have to figure out what to do with that video. The problem I have with it is that there are stupid people out there who will take a word from a video out of, like, way out of context. Again, because they will ignore me saying, this is me not agreeing with this speech, but merely reading the words of the court. And they will take all that out and just take the clip of me saying a nasty word and play it on repeat. So I have to figure out what to do with that video. The future Stream Me streams will not be taken down because they will probably not have me doing that very often. Usually, the idea behind the Stream Me streams is to have guests who are free to say whatever they want in having very impassioned debate. That's the idea. But, you know, so until I figure out how to deal with that, it is down. I have the archive of it. I believe I'm the only person with a copy of it. And I will, if I find a way to repost it in some way, I will do so. But typically, I just want to make clear the Stream Me streams will be archived and available automatically. They will be added to the SoundCloud, which will be. I'm working on increasing the production on the SoundCloud as well, and they will be available there for listening. Because Stream Me takes them down automatically after 45 days. But all that stuff will happen. It's new and different, and I have to figure out how to work all that in. So as I figure that out, I will update people. But again, right now, I just there's some juicy stuff in there for people to take way out of context, and I'm not in the mood to deal with that. so we'll figure that out. But the Stream Me streams will be more frequent. I'm also working on, I'm going to probably start simulcasting this to Stream Me as well. Once I figure out how to integrate the Stream Me chat so that I can see both chats at the same time and that their any sort of donations or super chats from Stream Me show up here and that I'm able to track them. That's what I need to figure out. Once I've got that figured out, then we will be... it will all happen on both channels, and there will be Stream Me exclusive streams as well. So that's where that's going. Hopefully, you guys understand all that. Okay. I think that's about it, guys. I think that's about it. Is there any other questions that are out there? I'm almost to 14,000 subscribers. If you guys know anyone who likes the show, please direct them this way. Hopefully, after 15,000 subscribers, I'll have my friend Drexel back on. And if you didn't see Drexel on my 10,000 subscriber spectacular, please go watch it. It's demonetized, so I can't even make any money off of it because YouTube hates black people. If you missed that, you'll love him. If you didn't miss that, or if you did miss that, I hope you loved him. Go watch it. Watch it again if you want. But yeah, after 15,000 subscribers, I will try and bring him back on for another show. I would have him on much more regularly. In all honesty, I really would. It's just really hard to get our schedules together. So for now, it's reserved to special events. But yeah, if we get to that 15,000, I will make some extra effort to make that happen. Yeah. Yeah. Rashizzle, I'll give you that. He is yummy. he's a giant, handsome, terrifically intelligent, and wonderfully humorous man. All right, guys. I think I'm about done. I said that like 10 times. Still got gin left. Let's finish the gin. Let's finish the gin. And then we'll be done. Well, thank you all heartily for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for Russell Greer. You have not missed the vault, Zephael. The vault is Friday. Friday is the vault. And every day following Friday likely will be from the vault, unless I'm out. But that will be my new broadcast thing. And I will try and find a way to give a tour, a full tour of the vault, as well. So we'll make that happen. I think I know how to do it where I can start the stream from my mobile device and then switch the stream over to my desktop once we do that. I'll figure that out for sure, but I'm pretty sure I know how to do that. And yeah. We'll tour the vault hopefully on Friday. You guys will get to, if you keep watching, as the episodes go, you'll get to see the set of the show build around, because it'll be pretty sparse on Friday. But yeah. And Friday, remember, Friday will be Chad Dad Chat number 2. It will be a regular occurrence on the show, so long as other Chad Dads would like to join in. If you know a Chad Dad of sorts, preferably, let me qualify this, preferably someone who is a dad who has some experience in like yakking to an audience of some sort. It doesn't have to be YouTube or anything. Like I'm not saying I need someone to grow my channel type thing. I'm saying I need someone who won't be caught in the headlights talking with 3 guys who are used to talking to groups of people. If you know someone and would like to get them on a Chad Dad stream sometime, you think they'd be a good fit, find a way to get me in touch with them. I love the suggestions. Like, people have suggested other people to me, but it's not always easy for me to reach out to these people. If you can help make a warm connection, I'm happy to do so. Coach Red Pill, I assume. Is he a dad? I don't know. Is he in the chat still? I don't know actually anything about hey, Coach Red Pill, if you're still watching. If you're a dad, I'd love to have you on a Chad Dad stream sometime. It occurs to me that I don't know anything about your personal life, and you may want to keep it that way too, which is fine. But yeah, the other suggestion is that there's someone out there that we are going to try and convert into becoming a dad, and that I think could be very funny as well. But stay tuned. Stay tuned, of course. All of this stuff will be available on Twitter. Any show news will be broadcast on Twitter. If it's crazy stuff, I'll broadcast it on the YouTube alerts as well. Isn't Coach Red Pill an ethno-nationalist? I don't know if he's an ethno-nationalist. But here's the interesting thing. I am able to talk to and have good conversations with both ethno-nationalists and the globalists. We're good with the globalists. We're good with the ethno-nationalists. We're good with the conspiracy theorists. I'm good with the hardcore communists. I'll have a conversation with anybody who can carry on a conversation. Just because I have divergent views from someone else does not mean I'm not willing to talk to them. I think that's the opposite of what we're supposed to do. Yeah, that's the reality there is, like, it doesn't matter what someone's view or politics are. if we can find common ground, commonality, and talk about things, then that's all I care about. Like this associative guilt has to go. And like the refusal to associate based on disagreement, like if you can't communicate with someone, I fully understand. Like if you can't communicate, there's no point in having a communication. But if you just disagree on some major principles, that's okay. You can either talk about those or you can talk about points where you agree, so long as the conversation is productive. So that's where I am. I'll talk to the most vile pro-choicist you can throw at me. No, I'm just kidding. I'll talk to anybody. Jamie Hughes was looking forward to seeing this one. We'll go back and watch. Keep on rocking, Rackets. Hey, thanks, Jamie. I appreciate that. Yeah, this one was pretty short because there's not a lot of documentation available. But I hope you find the information interesting. And I'll be watching both the FPS Russia case and the Mumkey case. And or not the Mumkey, but Brandon's case. And I will provide updates as we go. But yeah, so, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. I'm rambling now. Now it's getting embarrassing. I'm just kidding. Tune in tomorrow. Russell Greer. If you haven't seen one, come watch. You won't regret it. All right, guys. Thanks a bunch. I'm going to blank out the screen. As soon as it goes blank on the show here, I will turn it off. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining me. Peace.